Look at almost any plant, and its roots are doing two main jobs: anchoring the stem into the soil and absorbing water and dissolved minerals to keep the leaves alive. But when environmental conditions become harsh, when oxygen is scarce or a massive canopy needs more support, plants abandon that standard programming. Their roots reshape themselves entirely, mutating to store massive food reserves, absorb oxygen from the air, or act as load-bearing pillars. To understand adaptations, look at origin. A seed's radical extending directly downward into a single primary axis is a taproot system. Conversely, roots sprouting directly from stem nodes, origins other than the radical, form an adventitious root system. On board exams, classification depends entirely on this anatomical origin. Whether a root grows from the radical or the stem determines its category, overruling any similarities in final shape or function. Let's apply that rule to taproot systems. In plants facing long dry seasons or freezing winters, the taproot absorbs the plant's manufactured food and swells into a fleshy storage bank. This technical diagram catalogs these shapes. The carrot's broad base tapers gradually toward the apex, defining a conical root. The radish has a spindle-like middle bulge tapering at both ends, classified as fusiform. The turnip's spherical base abruptly narrows into a tail, marking it napiform. While some taproots prioritize nutrient banking, others modify to bypass environmental asphyxiation. Halophytes, like mangroves, grow in saline, marshy swamps where thick mud restricts airflow to the roots. To survive, they produce pneumatophores. This photograph shows hundreds of these specialized roots growing vertically upward out of the mud. This negatively geotropic growth allows them to expose minute pores called lenticels to the open air to secure oxygen for gaseous exchange. For taproots, modification is a direct response to these specific stressors, whether the plant is banking starch in a conical base or rising above the mud for air. Adventitious roots face similar environmental pressures, but they solve them differently because they originate from the stem nodes above the radical. Returning to our diagram, look at the tuberous roots. A sweet potato develops solitary, swollen structures without defined shape, known as simple tuberous roots. In contrast, the dahlia produces fasciculated tuberous roots, where swollen storage units grow densely clustered together at the stem base. Beyond storage, adventitious roots frequently evolve into mechanical support structures. Heavy horizontal branches or weak, narrow stems require reinforcement that a standard underground root system cannot provide. This photograph of a banyan tree illustrates prop roots perfectly. These woody, pillar-like structures develop from the heavy branches and hang vertically downward until they penetrate the soil, carrying the immense weight of the canopy. Tall, thin plants like sugarcane rely on stilt roots. As the diagram indicates, these stout roots grow obliquely from the lower nodes of the stem, driving into the ground like tent pegs to provide additional anchorage and keep the plant erect. By deploying roots from the stem and branches, adventitious modifications allow the plant to expand its structural footprint and support a much larger mass. Some adventitious roots never touch soil. Look at the sucking roots diagram. Parasitic cuscuta develop haustoria, penetrating host tissue to absorb nutrients. Epiphytic roots on orchids hang freely, relying on porous filamen to absorb atmospheric moisture. Finally, assimilatory roots develop chlorophyll to actively perform photosynthesis. Let's test your active recall. Based on their anatomical origin and shape, how would you classify the roots of a radish, a sugarcane plant, and a banyan tree? Take 5 seconds. The radish is a taproot with a fusiform shape. Sugarcane utilizes an adventitious stilt root system, and the banyan relies on adventitious prop roots. Let's lock this down with a typical board exam match the following question. You need to link pneumatories, haustoria, and fasciculated roots to their correct examples. Identifying the function provides the answer. Pneumatories are breathing roots found in swamp-dwelling rhizophora. Haustoria are parasitic sucking roots, pointing us to Cuscuta. And fasciculated roots are clustered storage units, which describes the dahlia. This flowchart charts the complete taxonomy of root modifications. You can see exactly how the origin splits the systems and how environmental necessity dictates the geometric shape and specific function. Trace the origin, identify the geometry, and define the function. Those three variables are the key to mastering any question on root morphology.